this was a really big one that came up in my mind. And I feel me and you talk about this a lot. I think it's an idea that I have been speaking about with friends and with family for a long period of time. People's idea of material success and spirituality not being something that you can combine, that to be spiritually authentic, it means you need to be materially poor or like not materially wealthy. I would love to like have a discussion on that, because I feel like my mind shifted a lot as I've grown up about that topic of feeling like you can't be in abundance in your life and also be deeply spiritual. And I've seen people be able to do both. But yeah, I would love to hear your perspective on it, because I feel like we've churned that thought a lot as we've gone through our life.
To be honest, even when you started this and you were like, you wanted a simple life, I think we both visualized a simple life.
Definitely.
I think I've become more ambitious and driven over time. And I would say I was always ambitious and driven.
Definitely.
I've become more believing in possibility over time.
Yeah.
But when we first met, I mean, we both decided to live right near your parents.
Definitely.
And the temple and our friends. And the goal was to live in a beautiful community.
Yeah.
Go to the temple, serve,
absolutely,
help other people. Like that was our plan. Like really that was my plan too. My plan, I think sometimes it's really hard to explain that to people, because people kind of feel like there was always a master plan. I would say I had no master plan.
No, you
whatsoever.
Definitely did not.
And things have unfolded as time has gone on. And so, and I grew up in a family where we didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Shout out to Wood Green.
Yeah. And I was always happy with what we could do, but
Yeah.
Anyway, all of that to say that spirituality means living in abundance. As in, a spiritual mindset is an abundance mindset.
Yeah.
Because you've accepted that nothing is yours. Everything belongs to the universe. And so from that abundance mindset, how could scarcity ever appear? It could only be abundant. Now, I think that people misconstrue it because we've been trained for so long to believe that success is bad and that wealth is bad. And we always hear the phrase, money doesn't buy happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't subscribe to that statement, because I think money can solve a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that money buys happiness, but it decreases problems and certain problems.
Right.
And I wish more people had access to that. And I think it also comes from the phrase that we often hear, which is money is the root of all evil. But actually, someone told me that the full phrase is love of money is the root of all evil.
Oh my gosh, they cut off the first
part. But we always only hear money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
And love of money being the root of all evil makes more sense to me.
Definitely.
Because the point is, so I've always loved the monk teachings around this, that as humans, we tend to idolize or demonize everything. We either idolize money or we demonize it. We idolize fame or we demonize it. And as a spiritual person, you're learning not to idolize or demonize, but to purify and to neutralize. And you do that by using everything you have in the service of others.
Yeah.
That's the principle. And so I know plenty of people who are serving with the little they have. My parents were like that.
Yeah, for sure.
We always gave to charity. We always took care of people at our home. We always fed people. I'd say my parents gave more to charity than they spent on us sometimes. And I love them for that.
Yeah.
And I know people who have so much today who are doing so much for the world.
Yeah.
And so it's not really about what you have or what you don't have. It's about what you hold back. It's about what you do with what you have. And so I've grappled with this for a long time, because I grew up believing that if you were doing good in the world, you had to be poor. But then I realized you couldn't do that much good. Like, how much good were you going to be able to do? And so I've changed my mindset about that. And I think if more people build an abundance mindset, that will impact all areas of their life. And I'd love to see a world where spiritual people who wanted to help others, were abundantly flowing in all aspects of their success so they could serve others. That's the reason. The reason is so you can give more.
Totally. And I think people confuse abundance with greed. And I think those two things can often get very entangled in people's mind, that living abundantly or having things materially in abundance does not mean you're greedy for it. You can actually have a lot of things in your life and actually be quite detached from them. You can appreciate them for what they give you, but you can definitely be at a place where you're like, actually, even if I lost these luxuries, and even if I went back to living in the semi-detached house that I started off in 9 years ago, and I was a tutor like you were to try and date me, even if I went back to those things, yeah, it'll be an adjustment. But would it change my level of contentment and joy and desire to help other people and desire to live my life with purpose? Would it change that? And if the answer is yes, then there is probably greed. And if the answer is no, then really it's a sign that you are trying to live from a place of abundance. Like you are trying to live from a place of growth and welcoming whatever comes into your life. I think I used to really struggle with that because I would never know whether to say yes or no to things which were depending on money. And I'd be like, oh, but if I say, and what I realized was like, if I say no to this, of course I had to align my values, but if I say no to this, I won't be able to give to this cow charity that I want to give to here, or I won't be able to give to midday meals how I want to, or I won't be able to eventually create this nonprofit that I want to create for whatever it is. And then when you start thinking like that and that becomes your desire, of course you're going to buy yourself things. It's just part of life. Who doesn't? Whether you have a lot or don't have a lot, you're going to end up buying things for yourself. But I think the overall mindset of what is the reason I want to create more abundance in my life is just so different.
And I think it's being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like everything you do is going to be completely perfect.
Yeah.
And there are certain things you want. There are certain comforts and luxuries and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. It's more about being honest and aware of what you're up to, what you're doing. You know, that's kind of how I see it. Yeah.
I feel like it's been really beautiful to have examples of that. I feel like I've seen people who live in abundance materially, but have had such incredible spiritual practices throughout their life and have really turned to God, even when they're at their peak of wealth or fame or whatever it is. And I'm like, wow, it's kind of given me hope that I'm like, if I end up living more abundantly, more materially abundantly, that there is a possibility to have both of these. And I think that that's such a beautiful desire to also have.